Sounds like the Ed Sullivan show. We're sitting in your garage watching the neighbors mow their grass. I mean, and you might, like, in the weekend, go to a movie. I mean, that was, and how often did you eat out? Never. And if you did, it was like McDonald's, burger and fries and a Coke for like $1 or something, and that was living. I mean, and we hear all these stories all the time, but the fact is that never before have we been so fleshly and so catered to. Only as we remember that life is a test of trust, a temporary assignment, will the appeal of these things start to lose their grip in our lives. We are preparing for something even better, brothers and sisters. Rabbi Chol expresses that in 2 Corinthians 4:18, that the things we see now are here today and gone tomorrow. But the things we can't see now will last forever. That's the paradox, isn't it? It's always the opposite. Things we can't see are the things that are going to last forever. The things we can see are going to fade away. You have to have faith. You have to. Because the earth is not our ultimate home, we experience difficulty, we experience sorrow, we experience rejection in this world. I mean, think about it. I watched people, remember we were setting up the Sukkot? If you've hung out here at all, much with the Sukkot, it kills me how many people like kind of slowly start.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And they kind of look and they go, what the heck are they doing? What kind of weird sort of cultic things going on over that Star East? And about 2/3 of those are probably pastors. What the heck are they doing? Yeah. Sorry, it's silly me, it's in the Bible. What was I thinking? Doing something biblical again. But don't you feel that a little bit around, as you're sitting in the sukkah or you're building it or you're watching people at all? You feel a little kind of like an outcast. You feel a little alienated. You feel a little even rejected. This holy day is obviously not embraced by the whole body of Messiah. I'm grateful we had about 80 plus people for our Sukkot celebration. But you know what? Compared to how many people are going to show up here First Christian tomorrow, or show up at the factory, name it, claim it church down there, it's mind-boggling. And of course, they're going to be starting tonight and reeling in the dough. So I mean, they have Saturday night service. Of course, not Saturday night. Got to wait for that Sabbath thing to be over with so we can have her. But this is not embraced by the whole body, and so. Most believers have chosen to be loyal to man-made traditions. It's true. It's true. Goodness, Halloween's coming. What are we going to do? The church goes, what are we going to do? We feel personally that some of God's promises seem unfulfilled. Some prayers seem unanswered. Some circumstances seem unfair. And I can understand that feeling. And if I have to deal with some of the things you all have to deal with, that's a reasonable feeling. It does seem unfair sometimes. It does. But that's not the end of the story. And that's what we have to hold on to. So that we don't get too attached to the earth. God allows us to feel a certain amount of discontent and dissatisfaction. That's by design. He doesn't want you to be content here. He doesn't want you to be satisfied here. You can't get no satisfaction. Right. You can't get no because you're not intended to have any. You got that right, see? Mick Jagger finally got it right theologically. And Devo, who did that song. We're not meant to be comfortable and content here. Longings of contentment and satisfaction will never be fulfilled on this side of eternity. We're not completely happy here because we're not supposed to be here. Talk to a soldier. Talk to somebody in the military. What can't they wait for? Till they go home. Right? Right, David? Couldn't wait till he went home. Right? David's thinking about going back to Michigan. I know he is. That's home for him. Even though they're up to their armpits in snow 9 months out of the year, but he's fine with that. I don't know what we had to deliver from that, but it's just not home. We're not supposed to be happy here. Happy is conditional. It's conditional. Earth is not our final home. We were created for something much better. We are a fish out of water here. That's normal to feel that way. I get a lot of people get very jacked up about world events, about injustices in the world, and we should care about people, and I get that. But I think we exercise a little too much passion, because honestly, the world is turning out as it was prophesied to turn out. Things are happening as God already knew they were going to happen. So it's not about trying to fix this world. We can't do it. You can't do it. God's going to have to purge it and recreate it. That's part of the plan. The redemptive nature of God is to redeem humankind and redeem this world. It's going to go the direction it's going to go. Our mission is about trying to pull as many people, out of that sinking ship on the dry land to eternity. That's what we have to be concerned about. We got to be concerned about the souls that might be going down with the Titanic called this world. And we got to be more concerned about rescuing their souls while there's still time. Because many people are going down with this world. We've all had happy times here. I've had some great times, great memories. But I trust you, trust me to believe this, that it's nothing compared to what's coming. Nothing compared to what you're eventually going to know. If we think about our time here as temporal, it will help to lead to our altering our values. Eternal values will begin to rise to the top and become the deciding factors in your decision making when you start to think eternally rather than temporal. C.S. Lewis, and that plays into your tithing. I'm sorry, brothers and sisters. That'll play into your tithing, into your observance. You'll start thinking, what matters more? Satisfaction here or satisfaction in eternity? What's the greatest satisfaction you're going to have? I know my kids, one of the most satisfying parts of them getting an A in a test is when they bring it home to me and show it to me, and I say, that is awesome. You did an amazing job. They were affirmed. Can you imagine your Heavenly Father bringing you up before the judgment seat going, you, Mr. Hessen, I was watching you. You did good. You did good. That's what I want. That's what I want. I was watching you. You didn't know I was there. You thought I was there. I was there. But you couldn't touch me. You couldn't see. I was watching you. You did that good. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud in your decision making because you thought kingdom-wise and not earth-wise. All that is not eternal is eternally useless. C.S. Lewis. All that is not eternal is eternally useless. Yeah, I had to work hard. It took me several years to clean up all my stuff that my mother and my stepfather had accumulated for years. And they accumulated a lot. And I pleaded with them as they began to decline in health, please, make up your mind up this stuff, because I know who's going to have to deal with this. And I don't have brothers and sisters. Don't get lured into subtle theological deception of assuming that God's goal for our lives is material prosperity or popular success as the world and the church now defines it. Don't get sucked into that nonsense, because it's from the pit of hell and it's not God. The abundant life has nothing to do with material abundance, and faithfulness to God does not guarantee success in a career or even a ministry. Let us not focus on temporary crowns or achievements. Think of some of the greats of God's kingdom. Just think of some of the greats of God's kingdom. I like Dietrich Bonhoeffer of current days. How did he spend the last couple years of his life? In a German jail during World War II, only to be killed the day before Hitler committed suicide. Seem fair? But he wrote some of the most important works that Christians have ever had the opportunity to read. And if you haven't read Cost of Discipleship, you have not understood what your faith walk is about. If you've not read Cost of Discipleship, it was written by a man in 1940 who knew where the church was headed, and knew it was headed towards cheap grace. And he prophesied it then and said, that's where it's going. Grace without sacrifice is cheap. And that's where the church is headed. It's drowning in grace. And that's where we are today. Or how about Shaul? Rabbi Shaul? In biblical times. Where'd he end up? He ended up in prison and martyred. Or how about Yochanan or John the Immerser? Yeshua declared to be the greatest person born of woman. That's what Yeshua said. What happened to him? Well, he was faithful, but he was beheaded. Right? Millions of faithful people have been martyred. You think it doesn't happen today? It happened a couple days ago. Happened a couple days ago. You ever been to Oregon? I have. It's like paradise on earth. I mean, Oregon and Washington State, I've driven that coastline many times. Up along the PCH highway, all the way up to Oregon and Washington. And so, just like this, a guy walks up to Beth and says, "You Christian?"
Yes.
Bam. Bam. Happened to 9 people. I'm a Christian. Bam. Of course, it was a Muslim that did it. Interesting that hasn't been reported. It's interesting, isn't it? You know, during the time of Hitler's occupation, he controlled the press. Those who don't learn the lessons of the past are doomed to have them repeated. We live in the delusion to think that things aren't controlled. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but I'm a realist. And history tells us, teaches us certain lessons. Wake up. One of the most prosperous, democratic societies on earth was Germany, next to the United States. If it can happen in Germany, it can happen here. Look at the rise of anti-Semitism in our country. The hatred of Jewish people. You don't think, wake up, people. Wake up. Millions have been martyred. You know, in God's eyes, the greatest heroes of the faith are not those who achieve prosperity, success, power in this life, but those who treat this life as a temporary assignment. You treat it as a temporary assignment, and you try your best to serve faithfully, expecting the promised reward in eternity and not here. You're looking to get the reward there, and not here. Hebrews 11 is God's Hall of Fame. Many of you read Messianic Jews 11. It's much more valuable than our football Hall of Fame that we have here in Canton, Ohio. What makes a football player dominate at their position and eventually finds them inducted into the Football Hall of Fame? Well, it's not talent. It's not just talent. Certainly it plays a part of it. They all have talent at that level. If you're a professional football player, you have talent. You have talent. You are good. What enshrines them in the Hall of Fame, what enshrines them to be the top of their class, is when they played the game, they left it all on the field. They left it all. They threw themselves into the game. And that's what makes us a powerful force on this earth, brothers and sisters, and ultimately inducts us into the Kingdom Hall of Fame, is our leaving it all on the playing field of life. All of our stuff, giving it up for God. And I believe this message resonates in my own life. I know what that's like. And so as a shepherd goes, so does the congregation. Maybe we've lost it at some point, but we're also gaining it at the same time. There's an old story of a retiring missionary coming home to North America on the same boat as the President of the United States. Missionary president on the same boat. On the boat docks, there are cheering crowds, a military band, a red carpet, banners, and the media welcome the president home. But the missionary, he just slips off the ship unnoticed and began to get a little resentful. Began to sort of feel a little self-pity. And he began whining and complaining to God. Because ultimately he went to a foreign country. In those days, that was really hard. He went to a foreign country, served. Then God, after he got done whining, gently reminded him, "Oh, my child, you're not home. Your ship hasn't docked yet." And there are times, brothers and sisters, I get it. Really, I do. Really, I do. When life is tough, when we've been betrayed, when we're overwhelmed, when we're struggling in doubt, and we wonder if living for Yeshua is worth this. Is it worth all this? Are you kidding me? Got a little certified package today, a little folder yesterday. It was a little, and tore it open, and opened it, and out dropped 2 keys. No note, no card, just 2 keys for the congregation. I can't tell you how many times, it's not about me, but I can't tell you how many times people said very, very nice things about me, encouraged me, threw their arms around me, and loved me. And Mom, they're doing that. The same hand is nothing. I know that's all. And the times I started to feel that way too. This is not worth it. This is crazy. This is not worth it. But I remembered the words that I'm preaching. I'm not home. I'm not home. This is what I'm called to do. And if I show up here alone, I will be alone. I will do what I'm called to do. This is my mission. I'm an ambassador for the Messiah. And I will continue to do what the Holy Spirit has impressed me to do.
Amen.
Now, there will come a day, the day of death, when we don't leave home, but we return home. Now, until that day, while on assignment here, together, all of us, let us take the Arba'a Minim, the 4 species, the Arba'a Minim, that represent basically every believer. These 4 species represent, as we taught in Sukkot, every believer in Yeshua. One of them is here. One of them is here. The etrog, or the etrog, very tasty, very fragrant, very pretty, very nice. This represents believers who possess both knowledge, who possess understanding of Torah, together with fruitfulness from that knowledge and understanding. do so with the right spirit. The Ruach HaKodesh. That's the goal right here for us as believers. Right here it is, represented in Israel. Now, we look at the collective here, though. There's more here than there is here. There's a lot more here than there is here. So we have a majority here, don't we? Majority. And what do we have? Well, we have the date palm. The date palm, which is halakha, correct? And it produces a sweet fruit, but it has no fragrance, no smell. Thereby stands for believers who are very learned in Torah. They know that Torah, but lack good works, and most importantly, lack the spirit of Torah. Oh. Lack the spirit of Torah. Then we have the myrtle, which is this, or the hadassah, hadassim. Hadassah produces no fruit, but it does smell good. It smells good. And it symbolizes the believer that does a lot of good works, but knows little to nothing about the Word of God. And then we have the willow. Here. Now the willow, the arvat, represents the believer who both lacks Torah and good works, and the Spirit of God. So let's take this lulav bundle that symbolizes the totality of the body of Messiah, uniting together, and extend a helping hand to one and all, striving as Yeshua's ambassadors to fulfill his will to the best of our abilities. Let's turn this into this. Loving, caring, comforting one another, rather than tearing us down, stabbing each other in the back. Let's build each other up. Let's be fruitful with what the Torah teaches us. Because the Torah is replete in telling us to get it right with our brothers and sisters before we get it right with Him. Because if you're not getting it right with brothers and sisters, then there really isn't a relationship with me. Being about the Father's business, we will be too preoccupied to dwell on what we don't have, what was taken, what they did to us. The lesson of the Sukkot is that simply that God is faithful to support us in our mission here. And when finished, when God determines that we're finished, He calls us home. And that will be the day of our parade and our celebration. Because that's when our boat will dock and the band will be waiting. Please rise. Yisrach Yahweh v'yishmerecha Adonai Pavalecha v'chanecha Adonai Pavalecha v'simlecha Shalom. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face to shine upon you, be gracious unto you. I pray the Lord will lift His countenance upon you, and that He will grant you His peace, His shalom. And so with that, together we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher Kiddeshanu b'mitzvotah, v'tzivanu al netilat lulav. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us by your commandments, has commanded us concerning the waiting of the lulav for north and south, for east and west, for heaven above and earth below. May the Spirit of God move you into a refreshing and a new understanding that this is not your home, but this is our place that we are called to. Go as ambassadors of Messiah and do a kingdom work. Be about the Father's business, and the praise and the celebration and rewards will follow in your heavenly home. Amen? Amen. Amen.